Been at it for a while, I'll say that. That's for sure. Good patient. Yeah. She's a trainer, so this is. No, unfortunately.
My grocery list and with my meeting notes.
I can see that.
Water and subject, strawberries.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't volunteer for it. We will be revisiting things that you know, I realize there are these things that years ago. We were there. But I'm not using the guy with the bucket part. Oh, no, that's about, you know. There's a hole, it's like.
How you use that's what the great
Yeah. I don't know. Yes.
Very awesome.
They're recommending.
Thank you.
But I did.
18 years.
That's what.
That's not true. Really? So. Okay. So you have to sing right now. All right. Yeah. All right. I think it's a lot of you think it's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's called a meeting to order. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Roll call, please. Mr. Ganley. Here. Ms. Thomas.
Here.
Mr. Harney. Here. Mr. Pryor.
Here.
Mr. Thorne.
Here.
Ms. Bo.
Here.
6 trustees present. We have a quorum. We have a meeting. Okay. The next item is the minutes of November 20th, 2023. We have a motion so approved.
I'll motion. Second.
Moved by McGuire, seconded by Bo to approve the minutes of November 20th, 2023. Any corrections or additions to the minutes? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Being no one opposed, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Okay, bringing up the president's report. The next item on the agenda is the civility pledge. And I saw a young man back there in scout uniform. One of the motives is to be prepared. So I'm going to call upon you to be prepared to read the civility pledge for us this evening, if you will.
No, we had it for you.
I've got it.
Sorry, let's read it out loud.
Read it out loud.
In respect of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, by being respectful to others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well done.
Okay, next item I've got for the president's report is the notice from the Dundee Park District. Involving their Aquatic Citizens Advisory Commission that they are going to be appointing shortly after the first of the year. I got a copy of their application from Mr. Peterson a couple of weeks ago. And his request I forwarded to members of the planning and zoning and also to all the new trustees. If you should be so interested in applying for that advisory committee with the Park District. And that stands for anybody in the audience. If they'd like to apply, just let us know. We'll get you an application. You can find it at the Park District's website, or you can contact us and we'll get you a copy of it. Okay, anything else in the president's report? The only other thing I've got to report is that Mr. Mills and I attended a seminar this morning on administrative adjudication. And you will hear more about that to come in the following weeks. Just let you know about that. I'm done with the president's report. Clerk's report.
I have no report other than to say that I am certainly glad that John Florence is here to work the audio visual. I was way out over my skis when I tried. I don't want to do
He left the room. So he didn't hear anything.
Thanks a lot, Florence. Other than that, I have nothing, no comment for him.
About him? Okay. All right, thank you, Tony. Planning and zoning.
No reports.
No report. Thank you. Attorney.
Mr. President, no report at this time, but some old business items to talk about later.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Engineer, Mr. Steele.
No report.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Good job to you, Mr. Man, Director of Finance.
Well, if the bill limit be paid, I have to have a report.
There we go.
Okay. Request a motion for the approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $89,904.10.
So moved.
Second,
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Bo to approve the warrants payable for December 4th, 2023, in the amount of $89,910 and change,
10 cents.
10 cents. Any additions, deletions, comments, or questions regarding the warrants this evening? Seemed a little small, 89K. We not
I
paying
know.
somebody?
Oh, it makes up for the $400,000.
All right, there being no questions or comments regarding the warrants, roll call, please.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Ms. Poe.
Aye.
Mr. Dedham.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion still passes.
Second item is the tax levy ordinance. Request that it be approved in the amount of $944,210. It's a 5% increase of last year's amount.
So moved, Diatley. Second, Harney.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Harney to approve the tax levy of 2024 in the amount of $944,210. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
I wanted to ask on the breakdown in the packet, it would have been pages like 27, 28, 29.
That's the actual ordinance.
I'm sorry.
That's the actual ordinance that gets signed.
Okay, well, but the breakdown there where it's allocated to different areas of the general fund for, is there any maneuverability to that later? Are we locked? Does it have to go into there? Is it just kind of proposed or?
So what it is it's justifying, we have an appropriation already
Mhm.
for year 2024, okay? And so then this is showing, it's matching where the money is going from point A to point
the, you know, which is, what is.
So we accounted for this 5% when we did the appropriation at the beginning of the term.
So what it is we do our budget, we then do the appropriation, but the taxes are a year behind.
Okay.
So we don't get to collect the taxes for this year's appropriation until next year.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand that. So what I was at, so then what it's matching up here is with our 2023 appropriations, but the money we're talking,
It's for 2024's appropriations for this year, this year that we're spending right now.
yeah,
Okay. It's matching up to that, but we don't get the money until next year.
We are technically in fiscal year 2024.
But we won't get it until fiscal year 2025.
yes. I'm tracking all that, thank you. But more my question is, with the amounts where there was 3 columns, one is the amount appropriated, then the amount to be received from other sources, and then the amounts to be raised by the tax levy, this 5% we're talking about here. Here it says 572,000 goes to the general corporate tax, 183 goes to this tax. My question is, are we locked into that? Is that what we have? Okay, that's what I'm asking.
On page 30, okay? There are certain areas where by law, we can only have it be that percentage of the rate, okay? There are certain things that we have no limit on. So we have no limit on, say, like liability insurance, okay? So we could say we want $1 million for the liability insurance. But then when we only spend $60,000 for the liability insurance, we can't use that money anywhere else.
That's,
So what we try to do is match up the money where we get it, where we're gonna use it. So what I've been doing is since we switched over to the LED streetlights, that amount has been dropping. Okay, it used to be like $10,000 that we were paying for the streetlights. Well, now we're barely paying $5,000. So I reallocated the money for the streetlights to other parts of it because I know that we're hitting close to the limit of what we can actually pay for.
okay, that was kind of what I wanted to get to is if we needed any flexibility, like streetlights, we now learn we don't need as much with that. There's
Right.
some maneuverability at a later end.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
But if you look at this and you look at your tax bill,
Mhm.
you will see your tax bill is broken out into these categories. And that's what we're matching to.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions concerning the tax levy? Then roll call, please.
Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Mr. Hardy,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes and no negative votes, the motion so passes.
Okay, the last item I have is the insurance renewal, request approval to sign off on the insurance for next year. We have 2 different types, our basic liability type insurance and then our workman's comp. So those were both detailed in the handouts.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Bo to authorize the village to sign and pay the insurance bills for the 2024 renewal. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
There was a little bit of arm twisting by IML's group or whatever. And what it came out is that they were absolutely no cheaper than what we're getting through this program. So they actually might have ended up being more expensive in the long run.
Okay, any other questions or comments for the insurance? Not, roll call, please.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Mr. Hardy.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries.
That's all I have.
That's it. All right, thank you, Eugene. Comments from the public? Alicia Martinez.
I'll wait, since we're on the agenda, you could just cross it.
Okay, moving to the trustee reports, roads and parks. Marty?
I've got nothing new to report. Except- Did I hear the plows out for the first time this year?
Yeah. 2 Sundays ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing new to report.
Saw him go by my place too. All right, thank you, Ed. Finance, Mr. Thorne.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mark. Water and sewer, Ms. Bauer.
We do still have a few residents who are holding off on switching over to the flat rate sewer, or the sewer meter flat rate, not flat rate, the sewer meter rate now. So I'll be speaking with them this week and trying to get them on board so that we can have more accuracy with our sewer meters. But that's still in progress, so I'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you. Courtney, which reminds me. We'll go back to insurance. The flow meters, I noticed one insurance
What's on the insurance is the stuff that's sitting in it,
in the pit.
in the pit, yeah. So it's not that they're operating, it's just that, if something happens, it's really from something on that equipment that's sitting there.
Okay. Just wanted to verify that that was not 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Police and public safety, Mr. Diatley.
No reports.
Steve, building and environment, compliant.
A report.
And building and zoning, Thomas. Kelly? I just go to adjournment. No, we still got old business. Old business, we had a conversation a couple of meetings back about a parking pad agreement, license agreement with 1815 Elm Court. That has been worked out. I am happy to report that the resident is happy with the agreement as you see it in your packets this evening and has signed off on it. So what we need from you, people this evening, is authorization for the village to sign the licensing.
So move, you're looking for the motion.
Second.
Moved by Harney, seconded by Thorne to authorize the signing of the license agreement with 1815 Elm Court regarding that parking pad. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Ms. McGuire,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
Aye.
Mr. Dattley,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Ms. Bo.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes and no negative votes, and motion so carries. Off. Okay, the next item. A resolution approving the amendments to the personnel manual, reference leave time, reference paid leave wages. I'm not sure how many of you have followed the events in Springfield, but this past year they did pass a law that was referred to as the Paid Leave Wage Act, which means that anybody who works for anybody is entitled to 1 hour off paid leave for every 40 hours that they work, whether they be full-time or part-time, whether they work for a municipality or they work for a private enterprise. This is now a state law as of January 1st. In order for us to come in compliance with this, we've had to revise our personnel manual, primarily to pick up the part-timers within the village. And full-timers are covered under the what is it, contract?
Police officers.
Yeah, the bargaining agreement with the police officers. That takes care of our full-timers. It's the part-timers that we're gonna slip through the crack, and therefore we need to modify our personnel manual to include coverage for them beginning January 1st. Mr. Schuster has worked with Chief Parma and Eugene on getting this thing put together so that we have got compliance with the Paid Leave Act on the 1st of January. Mark has supplied you all with a memorandum regarding it. Tonight we need to finish it up. So, Mr. Schuster, you got any explanations as to?
Well, that's the target. Actually, the act itself allows for any pre-existing policy to remain in effect as an exemption And so what's proposed kind of in mind of the personal leave that is allowed for the full-time employees, but addresses more so the part-time situation. So it doesn't mirror everything in the new act, but it would be exempt from full compliance if you adopt it before January 1 of 2024. So after, as the president said, several discussions with the finance director and the chief of police, we proposed an amendment to the existing personnel manual to state what are the rights of employees and duties of the village in regard to paid time, paid leave time for part-time workers.
Okay. Any other questions on it?
Just one last, I'm sorry, two last things. You are required to have a minimum of 1 hour to 40 hours, and that's repeated here or stated here. And the other difference in general is that under this new Paid Leave for All Workers Act, leave must be made available for any reason, basically for no reason. I've earned it, I get the time off, I don't have to be sick, I don't have to have an emergency, I've earned the time off, I can have it. So those two features needed to be included, even to claim an exemption, and you'll see that they are included. It's after that, some of the other details that, for notice and when it's taken and things like that are addressed in just these 7 or 8 paragraphs.
Other questions, comments?
Do we have this stuff? I don't think, did we have a resolution to review? I saw the memo discussing it, but you're saying 7 or 8 pages?
No, 7 or 8 paragraphs, and there is a memorandum, I'm sorry, a resolution that's proposed to you to approve this amendment. Yes, ma'am.
But it's not a formal written resolution.
Sure.
Is it?
Could be.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It is. So you should have an agenda supplement, a resolution, and then 2 or 3 pages to be plugged into the personnel manual.
I think mine went straight to the swimming pool one.
Yeah, I don't think that's in there.
I've got it. Well, I got the agenda supplement on it.
It should be.
I'm sure if it's in.
No, I don't think it is.
That's not part of the package. There it is.
That's the actual,
It asked us to review.
Oh, maybe,
So
I
that's what I went.
I didn't really look at the package till I got here tonight. I
Apparently, you would do the clerks.
sent it to the clerk. Mr. Mills and I tried pretty hard to coordinate the package. But we did it. If it's not there,
it's not.
it could be tabled to the next meeting. You've got one more meeting before January 1.
Effectively, it's gonna bring it up so that they can accrue the time as they get 40 hours, they can accrue personal time. And then for the ones that already exist, I know in some businesses or back in the day, like even when you call in for personal time off, you still have to give a reason, like. I mean, no reason has to be given for this, from what I understand.
That's correct.
So would we modify our full time that they don't have to give reasons for personal time off,
Well,
or?
I can address that. In the collective bargaining agreement that was approved in March or April of this past year, we, in our negotiations, anticipated that this law would be in effect. And so, it's also an exemption for any existing collective bargaining agreement. So there's quite a bit of detail in that collective bargaining agreement about personal time or sick time. The chief had wanted to continue to have some monitoring of sick time.
Mhm.
Just to, keep track of the health and welfare of his department. And, but the time and so on is, expressed, and I think for the personal leave, there's no reason it needs to be given.
Correct, just
It's
notice.
just sick time, if
advance
you're
notice.
ill, the chief wants to know, or injured. You know, just for everybody else's benefit, in the department, to be able to keep a handle on that.
I just wanted to know, so if an officer were to call, or an employee, not even necessarily an officer, they were to call in, they just have to say, I need to take personal time, regardless of,
I'm on
We have-
vacation
we have
time, I'm on
carve-outs
personal
for that.
time, I'm on sick time.
yeah, you just designate which
Yeah.
one without having to. I mean, vacation usually you fill out in advance and, okay,
Well, vacation's different.
yeah,
You know, that,
but personal
because
versus sick, yeah.
that's, accrued at a different rate and whatnot, so.
Sorry, that was just a slip, they shouldn't have even said that one.
Yeah, and each of the three have a different accrual rate, and we worked that all out with the union when we were sitting down negotiating, again, with this. whole
With this in
process
mind, yeah.
Postpone this thing until
Well, the
the,
resolution is
14th.
there.
The resolution.
We wanna read it.
And I apologize. You know,
But be sure and get on the agenda next time and I'll resend
yeah.
3 items.
well, 18.
Now, if we have any questions on that resolution, I assume won't be at that meeting, so will we won't be able to make any modifications before
Why don't
January
we,
first?
why don't we try to get that to you in the next couple of days?
Okay.
And then if you do have some questions or concerns, you can let the village president or clerk know and we'll answer them.
That'd be great.
If that doesn't work, I can always pop in on the next meeting.
Thanks.
Just like Santa Claus.
Pardon?
Just like Santa.
Is there a chimney?
Oh, but we got an empty barn.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anything else with the personnel manual, the paid leave wage act? No? All right. The next item we've got for discussion this evening is the pool permit application. We started this a couple of meetings back. It was postponed and run off until this meeting. The information has been sent out. I believe everybody is here. Some Martinez come in. So we'll start with this one. I don't know where to start with. The explanation of it is Ms. Detmer.
Thank
You
you,
can
everyone.
explain this.
I need to take you back in history a little bit before you adopted the 2021 codes effective January 1 of this year. Chapter 4 of Title 7 had been in effect, which went with all swimming pools, spas, etc. in the village. One of the requirements in that packet or in that chapter was that every in-ground swimming pool was to have a minimum 3-foot walkway that was sloped at 1% per foot for drainage away from the pool, and that it had a minimum 4-foot fence. Now, the international codes are a minimum, and I reiterate, are a minimum. They're not a maximum code. It's for their minimum to try and provide a level of safety throughout the nation, and that's what was adopted. In the 2021 swimming pool and spa code that's adopted, the barriers minimum of 48 inches are provided for above ground pools, but there was an allowance for an ASTM listed cover, auto or powered cover, to be utilized in lieu of fence requirements. However, the village of Sleepy Hollow has, as I said, since 1974 required fences around all swimming pools, whether it be above ground or in ground. And because again, the occupancy is a minimum level and the village had a higher level in order to maintain that higher level of safety for citizens, children specifically, which is what the chapter 4 code stated. The automatic powered, and I should say powered ASTM cover was deleted out of the general statement. And I believe in your packets, you see, Attorney Schuster gave you that information. And that was in order to maintain that higher level of safety that the village has always wanted. Also, as part of the ICC swimming pool and spa code, a code official is allowed to make a modification when there is unusual circumstances that preclude following the code. And it has to be specifically stated why those circumstances cannot be met, that the level of safety is going to be maintained at the same level. It cannot be done for personal preference or anything like that. There has to be a justifiable means for doing that. In the packet that was provided to me during this application for the fence and the pool, all of the details for an approvable fence were provided, but it was requested that they not do it because they were having this cover installed instead, which again was a lower level of safety based on the adopted code, and therefore I could not approve it. There was no justifiable means that I could find there's room on the lot to have that fence, and so I could not do it as a modification. And theoretically, the village board and the Board of Appeals is technically by the code adopted, not allowed to reduce the level of safety of the adopted code. So with that being said, if you want to change it for everybody in the village and allow just a cover, which relies on somebody to get out of the pool and make sure that that is closed every time they go into the house, we could modify the code again and put it back in, but that means every single person that wants to put in an in-ground pool will not do it. And the minimum code for the barrier required by the ICC is a minimum of 48 inches. We have another in-ground pool and they have the same possibility had they appealed, but they're actually putting in a 60-inch fence around their pool because they want to maintain that level of safety, because they're concerned about kids, they're concerned about their dogs, they're concerned about any critter that could come through. The packet also did not include any information about the ASTM rating. It was simply a sales brochure. So there's no quantification or qualification in the application. This pool cover actually meets ASTM, and all of the pictures that were provided show fences around that pool cover in the brochure. So that's as fast as I can tell you. I'm sorry. Any questions?
The pool cover, how heavy, like if it's closed and locked, how heavy, how much weight can go on to it?
Several people, several adults. 500 plus pounds.
Okay. And if there's water that goes on the pool cover, how is that taken off? Like,
On top of it. Separate pump that's got exposed switch on it.
okay,
So if you get rain, that fills up the water, it'll turn on automatically, pump that off, turn stuff off.
Okay.
Really cool.
and how can the pool cover be closed if the mechanism doesn't work?
If the automation doesn't work, mechanical, and you can use the 3/4 inch drive and socket. And then. But it can be operated.
So you had said in the history of Sleepy Hollow, it has always been that we've always had fences around, and in looking up a lot of this, I understand I understand what you're saying with it being the bare minimum of the safety requirements. But to me, it seems that the 4-foot fencing that's around the pools is supposed, one, it's not gonna be 100% guarantee of safety. It's just it's supposed to be a visual deterrent, a physical deterrent. But, I mean, I can climb a 4-foot fence. And I know a lot of kids that could. And I'm not saying that it's not adequate, but I'm after reviewing the cover, I mean, to be perfectly honest, like seeing the way that it's designed and understanding some of the safety components of it, it seemed more compelling than the fencing. I don't know that I would necessarily want to replace the barrier with the requirement for a fence. Because the other thing that I kept reading on all the different websites, not just Cover Star, which I think was 1208 Timbers, was that they recommend doing, this is one of the things to do, have a fence, have covers, have adult supervision, have, I mean, all sorts of things. I guess my question is. Sorry, I guess I just talked. I didn't have a question. I thought I did. It'll come back to me in a minute.
Mark,
Yeah,
can I use this one? What's the liability for the village?
That's the other question.
there's no liability for it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to find out. So it's strictly on.
It's a matter of, the private homeowner, if you have a pool, you get insurance coverage for it.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to make sure there's no.
Because, the village, has a code in effect and it's, as long as it's properly implemented. And if you change the code or decide that, this type of, powered safety cover is an adequate, substitute for a fence, and the village isn't going to incur liability for
Okay, I
that
just
decision.
wanted to. Make sure.
And by the energy code, they're required to have a cover, to prevent, evaporation and to maintain the heat of pools. So, and again, in the submittal that was provided me, there was no technical data provided about the pool. The citation on the plans was to the wrong code. It spoke to an exemption, which isn't even in the 21 code. So, there was no way of even proving that if they want the pool with the fence that they have provided meets all of the standards with the self closers and everything like that.
But the cover has not got any.
I have no specifications, no details on the
Cover.
proposed cover, except the sales brochure, which does not give any information about it.
And can I ask the residents really quickly, what model were you selecting?
Cover Star.
There's like 3,000, there's,
This is CS 3000.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was looking at the specifications on it, in answer to somebody's question earlier with respect to animals. I mean, they certainly recommend nobody should be standing or walking around on it, but some of their pictures with it showed toddlers, small children able to stand up and walk to their, like, kind of make their way to their parent on the other side. The cover itself seems to go over the side. There's a lot of safety functions and redundancies, like if the power is out, you have a manual crank to do it. I mean, I personally won't ever have a pool because my dad always talked about the safety of it and it's a hazard. But looking at it, I mean, it was interesting. I think what they're trying to achieve with the pool cover certainly seems to be the same impact of a fence. It probably looks to me to be more effective, just knowing kids in this area, they like to climb things, they love to kind of get into things, but I don't know that anybody's had much problems with, or actually, Chief, do we have a lot of trespassing issues really in the village?
No.
Okay.
I think one thing to consider here is this family, I know they have small kids and I know they have a chain link fence around it, I believe at the moment, is that correct?
Yeah.
So one worry is children, they climb chain link fences, it's a fun thing to do. And I think no matter what, a cover is needed when you have kids, no matter what, but that chain link fence ain't keeping their kids out of a pool for sure.
Post fence is not a chain link fence, it's just for your advising.
That chain link fence was previously permitted through Sleepy Hollow and it was approved.
Yeah, that's not a safe fence
It is
for,
not, but it was approved and it's supposed to require, I have video where my husband just pulled it out. There was no footprints on that either. And again, my daughter, 5 years old, sticks her little feet in it and she could just jump in it.
Mhm. Yeah, as a mom, that would scare me to have that.
Yeah.
No.
As a mom, I'd rather have that cover and it's guaranteed, and they can't open it.
It's by code.
When you've got the contractor there,
There
do
you
you know if that cover meets the certification?
Oh, it does, yeah. I mean, it absolutely has an ASTM safety. I don't know why that was not provided, but it can be provided.
So is there any reason not to do this aside from tradition and some not well-defined difference in safety between the two, approaches, the fence or the cover? Is there, I mean, and apparently there's no, liability?
Right, the International Code Council allowed it.
Yeah.
It allows it in its standard language. And appropriate cover, there's a standard here, I don't know what that means, but ASTMF 1346. So it's not any cover. That apparently means something in the industry.
As they invent
So
new things.
your decision would be to amend the swimming pool code that you previously adopted in I guess it was the beginning of this year, 2023.
It was adopted.
Could amend that by restoring this clause. Then this separate question is going to be that this contractor will have to submit adequate evidence in the application that it meets that standard. Which is going to be for them to figure, right? None of us really know what that standard is, but what's ASTM stand for? American Safety something? I don't know.
American Society of
Some technological,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't believe I
So
should-
there's someone has defined
Yeah.
how strong it needs to be and what it's made of, I assume.
And that
things like
code specifically spoke to in the prevention of children 5 years and younger.
Mhm.
And it had to meet a 485-pound weight limit.
Right,
The function of the materials and the permeability of it with respect to water and air versus being solid enough for.
so
Don't know
it's
anything
just
about
a matter of the applicants submitting adequate proof that
Yeah, and they
this
have not.
cover that they propose will meet those standards, and so far it's not there. But that's a separate question to be handled administratively in the building department. If you want to approve this alternative.
So I could move to amend our code for the swimming pool to adopt the complete 305.1
Yeah.
international swimming pool,
Original,
the original 2021 edition. Okay, I move.
no, the text, sorry.
The text of the 2021 edition.
Would that would.
Well, if you do that. I think the board is looking for a consensus tonight and there be an ordinance the next meeting to change the code
Yeah,
officially, just to clarify.
I realized our conversation was kind of going towards that discussion,
That's
so.
what's going to be the recommendation. Or even if you just want it on the agenda in an official fashion and then you vote on it next time.
I think the intention of the board back then was to be more safe. But the question that I'm hearing, is it really more or less safe than the fence?
Yeah.
I personally could argue it both ways.
I've been going back and forth.
And they invent new things all the time
Right.
that come out safer, that changes, so.
I mean,
But
gates
the
can be left
advertisement for the
open.
cover
People
shows a
can-
fence.
Gates can be left open. People can forget to close the fence. Kids can climb over them.
Yeah.
The
But that's,
kids,
yeah.
et cetera.
And that's why it's a deterrent. I mean, we're not going to guarantee safety, but around bodies of water, it's a hazard, you want to prevent inadvertent behavior of young children, people who aren't paying attention or animals. And yeah, being able to see like dogs or kids kind of falling onto this. And I mean, it gives this nice kind of hammock effect where like, you're not going to fall into any edges because there's all this, it was really cool.
And if I may, the other thing is to remember that while it's a very good product, there is still also the human factor, just is why fences have self-closers on them. Not that somebody can't prop a self-close gate open, but self-closers are supposed to operate to prevent and keep that barrier around the home. And that's why there are also alarms on the houses and different things like that. They're all part of that same section, which totally goes away if you allow just the cover. Just so you're aware that if you take it out, no pool going forward, if they have that cover, will be required to have a fence or any of the other safety measures required.
No, going fence, covers would be allowed as an alternative to a fence.
Yeah.
Right.
And it would be up to the applicant to decide which one they want. Isn't that what this would do? It's an
Yes,
alternative,
yes.
isn't it?
Yes, I don't even have to read the barrier portion if they come in with the cover. And all pools are required to have a cover for, at a minimum, the energy code. So whether it's the ASTM 1346, or another type of cover, as long as there's a cover that beats that, they don't even have to even.
Well, then a
consider
fence would not be required,
a
right?
fence would not be required, any of the other alarms and everything that goes along in the other 8 sections of the code are wiped away. So it's
What alarms are you?
alarms are you having one?
it depends on the proximity of the pool to the home, because a house wall can act as the barrier. And if it is, you have to have the alarms on patio doors and things like that, when somebody's going out when it's being used as the barrier. So there are all sorts of different ins and outs. So I'm just trying to make you aware, since you're the voting body, that it's not just the fence that'll go away. There are other ramifications of, if they have that type of cover, you've basically eliminated a page of other code requirements as well. So, and those are all safety measures.
Because I think even with fences though, there's no alarm that goes off. Right.
It
You
depends
can
on
leave it
where-
open, there's a lot of, failure there too.
I'm just curious of what alarm, like,
Patio doors, alarms, so like we have the pool up on Deer, who has the required fence around their in-ground swimming pool that has a cover on it. And because they are using the wall of the house, which has the door, they have to have alarms on their door, patio doors. So if somebody opens the patio door, it's alarmed that somebody's coming out and could get into the pool, whether or not that cover is closed, because the cover only is closed if somebody closes it.
right. Yeah, there's a whole different situation.
But those requirements will go away if they have a cover, is what I'm trying to explain to you. It's not just the fence that goes away, there are other requirements in the code that if you have.
But the cover is gonna be instead of a fence, so it's in, if you had a fence all the way around the pool, not up to your house, the cover's making up for that.
And any other of the code requirements of 0.2 through 0.7 that go along with that.
Can we get around that? One code would be written.
You mean if there's a cover
Yeah.
and
But that's a-
part of the
that's a
house is a
Yeah.
barrier, you still want an alarm on the patio?
You
For
wouldn't need
example,
it.
no.
So
The
what-
alarm, the way I understood, the alarm in that situation, because of all the house,
Right,
yeah. If in the future that situation arises, we would require an alarm. It's not, but in any other situation, we wouldn't require.
well, if there's a cover, then what Ms. Detmer is telling you is there's a list of 7 or 8 barrier requirements
Right.
that won't apply. One of those is having an alarm on your patio door if you can walk out your patio and into your pool. So if you wanted that alarm on the door anyway,
Yeah.
yes, you could put that, you could leave that, sure.
Yeah.
Or apply it to the situation where a cover is being used.
Okay.
And also, it seems that on the international swimming, the ISPSC, thank you. So in 305.1, which is the one that's dictating this and gives us the exemption that if you have an F 1346 cover, you do not need the fence. And if you have this cover, you actually don't need to comply with, and they're specifically saying you don't have to comply with all these sections with respect to all these additional safety items. So I understand you're saying that we're omitting a lot of things, but it seems that what's being said here is that they're suggesting that these safety covers, which comply with all of these regulations, are sufficient to, well, to be exempt from all of those specifications. I understand that they're all there for a reason, but it seems that's also addressed within their exemption.
And as I need to reiterate, the code is a
Minimum.
bare minimum.
I understand.
That's all I'm gonna say. If you wish to. For the.
Can the resident ask a question?
Well, she passed up public speaking, thinking.
She was on the agenda.
Yeah.
What's your question?
My question is that I understand everything that's being said here with safety, but then I think as Attorney Schuster mentioned that you all got, if they were just to go back to the original national code, which seems the sentence including pools with this cover, which has been omitted on the Sleepy Hollow code, same 2021 code. But if they were just to put that back, that would be the only change. And I don't think I understood why that was omitted. Why did you omit that sentence?
Because since 1974, the village has required a fence of 48 inches, 3 feet away from any pool wall, whether it was above ground or in ground.
Okay, so I understand you're saying that the national code is the bare minimum, but
Correct.
it seems to me that you removed a safety from it. You
No, I added it in by striking it. It required everything.
Okay,
in the
that's enough.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Just so you understand, it put it, that's requirement back into it.
So what we need to do then is decide if
If we want to instruct the attorney to redraw this ordinance and which now you also have to realize who's paying for this too.
How much have we got into this?
Right now, he's over 500 and some odd dollars last month.
$1,133.
There we go.
Over $2,000.
Well,
How do they get that?
We've had the attorney review it for some 500 some odd dollars. The engineer has been doing a bunch of work over there, grading and drainage. So, you know.
It's good. Question is, no payments.
No payment.
If we would agree to move forward, that would be naturally, once we're provided with the written proof with the specs that Barb doesn't have right now.
I think in the future, this is something that's gonna come, you know, as they invent more things, you know, we have to do update codes. Obviously, we updated parking codes and things like that. I think either way in the future, it's gonna keep eventually coming up. That's something to keep in mind. But we can't be dancing around this for much longer. We either gotta get it done or don't do it. Cause it's starting to get expensive.
I think the applicant can see the board has taken this quite seriously. That's been an education for all of us on pool covers and that. Has a motion been made now?
I'm gonna move to amend and restore the clause from the 2021 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code 305.1 to its original language and update our Sleepy Hollow code accordingly.
that would allow a power safety cover.
It would include the exemption for the swimming pool AF 1346.
to
cover.
substitute, but I'm going
It says
by
it's
what
exempt.
what Mark suggested. I just want to make sure we're clear
Thank you.
that you're asking to amend the code provision restoring international code, which would a powered safety cover to substitute for a fence or barrier.
It doesn't say that specifically. It says
That
it includes the clause and swimming pools are equipped with a powered safety cover that complies with ASTM F 1346. Those areas, blah, 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 shall not be required to comply with sections 305.
I'm just reading where the action is needed.
For the action statement?
She's-
Or are you on the,
Marcus Schuster.
From Mark.
oh, thank you.
So I just wanna make sure that's what we're doing, it's.
Well, she's made a motion to ask the board, the attorney to modify it. Now she needs to be seconded and further discussion and vote.
I second it.
Okay, moved by Bo, seconded by Thomas to instruct the attorney to redraft the ordinance to include the ASTM qualified pool cover into the ordinances. Comments, questions, or discussion? Being none, roll call please.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
I,
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Ms. Bo.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes. Motion so carries. Mr. Schuster,
Next meeting.
next meeting. Okay. December 18th. All right, moving on from old business to new business. New business, we have ordinance 2023-14, an ordinance authorizing the sale and disposal of certain property owned by the village of Sleepy Hollow. Okay, have a motion so approved.
So moved, Diatley.
Second.
Moved by Diatley and seconded by Thorne to approve ordinance 23-14, disposal of village-owned property. There is a list of that ordinance in your packet with the equipment that we have added to it. Some of this is a little bit of housekeeping. Fuel tanks have been sent on to other scrap yard somewhere down the line. They're not ours anymore. The chipper we traded in. And I believe everything else has been, playground equipment's been replaced.
Well, the old equipment was sold.
Right. Right. It was sold,
That's
at
an
auction.
option. Dispose of what you deem to be surplus property. And there's a list here.
Okay, so we have a motion so approved. We did that, right?
Right.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, or discussion? If not, roll call please.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Ms. Bo.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
I,
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Harney. Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. Well, the next item on here is a resolution. Is it 556?
Yes.
Okay, a resolution establishing the dates of regular meetings of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow for the calendar year of 2024, not to be confused with the fiscal year 2024.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Those are 2 separate items, and 2 separate calendars. Okay, the clerk provided us with a list of holidays. I would like to make one note real quick. The first meeting in January should be January 2nd, not January 8th, which makes the second meeting, January, sure, yeah. January 1st is a Monday,
Should we make that a holiday?
Right.
right now?
yeah, we did.
And the fifth.
but we meet on the 2nd.
Oh.
And then, so that would make the next one the 15th, which is Martin Luther King's birthday, so we make it the 16th.
What, January?
In January.
Okay. 2 Tuesday meetings in January.
Okay. Yep. And a third Tuesday meeting in February.
So other than that, that's the only.
President. Take President's Day off. February.
Exceptions right off the bat.
Yeah. The only other one then will be September 3rd, which is a Tuesday, because Monday is September 2nd, which is Labor Day, and we take that holiday off also. If we wanted, we could just take the whole day off and not come in until the following 3rd Monday.
Let's cancel the meeting.
What else would we do? Okay, we have a motion to approve resolution 556 with those 2 changes.
I have a question.
I gotta move,
Sorry.
got a second.
Second,
Moved and second, okay, now the question.
Okay, the last meeting, and I'm probably confused, but the last meeting I thought we gave people up, because January 1st was Monday. So we gave everybody off January 2nd. Does that include the board?
No.
That was.
You're not an employee.
Oh,
You don't
is it actually?
have to have.
Okay,
We don't get.
that's why I'm confused.
So the reason why we got January 2nd off for last year was because the first was on a Sunday.
Okay. Now,
Now we're,
now I'm on board. I just wanna. Tony.
No, I didn't think, why do you think?
Why
I
you
got
giving
carried over
me
to
the
the
evil?
eighth? No, I'm agreeing with you. That's why I said the 8th instead of the 2nd, because the 2nd we're closed. Those of us that are not elected.
that's right.
Whoever that may be.
Oh, that's true. Some people are appointed.
Didn't move fast enough. Huh?
No, didn't move fast enough.
I didn't catch the 2nd. Well, I didn't, who seconded that?
Oh, Harney
I
and,
Okay.
well, we got January 2nd, January 17th or 16th. Those other changes? Okay. On the calendar dates. And no more comments, questions, or discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion so carries. Okay, we've got the date set for the calendar year 2024. Any other new business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned, folks.
It's never been anyone that ever opposed those, have they?
Oh, somebody. Oh, no, it wants to go out. So you do
I won't.
No, well.
So happy holidays.